This is a story you have just got to see. A reporter who covers the tech world says in less than an hour, quote, his entire digital life was destroyed. Mat Honan's Apple, Gmail, Twitter, MacBook, iPhone accounts wiped out. And he wrote about this epic hack in an article for Wired. Now, unlike most victims, Honan actually cut a deal with one of the hackers, learning how they completely unraveled his online life. The security flaws have prompted two big guns in the industry, Apple and Amazon, to change some of their ways. Mat Honan, senior writer for Wired, joins me live from San Francisco. Matt, great to see you. I guess if it can happen to you, it can happen to anyone. So tell me, when did you first discover that something was wrong?
It was Friday evening, and I was expecting a phone call. I noticed my phone turned off. I went to plug it in, and when I did that, the startup screen you get when you first buy a new iPhone came up. I tried entering my password, and it said my password was wrong. I went and looked at my computer, and my computer was in this weird reset mode that was asking for a PIN, and I realized my drive was being wiped. And what happened, I was sitting there watching while my iPad and my iPhone and my computer hard drives were all wiped remotely all at the same time. And at that point, I basically kind of freaked out.
Pretty incredible. I mean, among other things, you lost more than a year's worth of photos covering the entire lifespan of your daughter. I mean, that's just tragic. You say that this happened because your accounts were daisy-chained together, so they were all linked, essentially, right?
That's right. So my once they were able to access my my Apple account, my Apple email, that was the backup email for my Gmail, so they were able to get into Google, and the Google account was linked to my Twitter. It was my Twitter login, so they were able to get into Twitter. And this all started actually by getting to my Amazon account. And so,
yeah, talk about that. Talk about you mentioned that the pizza guy could have done this. I mean, this wasn't some elaborate
right.
hack job. This took a couple of phone calls to Amazon, and that was it, right?
Right. So from Amazon, they were able to. Basically, they gave a fake credit card number to Amazon, which they then called back and gave them that credit card number as verification of my account. And then they were able to see the last 4 digits of all the credit cards in my Amazon account that way. At the time, Apple was just requiring your email address that was your ID, your billing address, and the last 4 digits of a credit card to get into your account and get a temporary password reset. So armed with just those last 4 digits, address and email, they were able to go in and just, into into my Apple ID and destroy everything.
I think what's extraordinary too is that, I mean, and we're going to get to this in just a second, one of the hackers actually contacted you after you set up another Twitter account. I found it interesting that they really just said they liked your handle. You spell your name M-A-T, and your Twitter handle
right.
at least was at Matt, right? Tell me.
That's right.
The hacker contacted you via Twitter, and then what happens next?
We began messaging each other, and we followed each other on Twitter, so we were able to send each other private messages. And I really wanted to try and understand how this had happened, and so I basically, he was telling me a little bit, but not very much. And eventually I said, if you explain how this is going to happen, I'm not going to take any steps to prosecute you. Because I really wanted to understand how and what the extent of this problem was. And once it kind of became apparent that it was a really widespread problem, that it wasn't a security issue that would just affect me, I thought it was very important to know how it was done and how you could, how you could stop it. And once we were able to learn that, at Wired, we were able to repeat basically all these steps end to end again and again.
Well, that's incredibly big of you, I have to say. We spoke to Amazon and Apple. Amazon says it has closed the, quote, exploit, but didn't elaborate any further. Apple tells us, that, quote, we've temporarily suspended the ability to reset Apple ID passwords over the phone. When we resume over-the-phone password resets, customers will be required to provide even stronger identity verification to reset their password. They go on to say that Apple takes customer privacy seriously. In this particular case, the customer's data was compromised by a person who had acquired personal information about the customer. In addition, we found that our own internal policies were not followed completely, rather. Does this satisfy you?
No, I don't think so. I believe that I'm glad that they have taken steps to keep this from happening in the short term, and I assume they've taken those temporary measures to put long-term, better security in policies in place. But I really think that the statement doesn't do justice. They really have to actually take steps that are going to keep this from happening. They need to have some sort of method that keeps people from being able to remotely wipe someone else's device, for example. The over-the-phone problem was not the only problem.
I'm curious to know just how close you are to restoring your digital life. How soon might that happen, and is there any shot at all at getting those photos back?
I've been able to restore my Twitter account, my Google account completely. My iPhone and iPad, I was backing up, and so I was able to restore those as well. Things are not looking as good for my MacBook. I'm actually picking that up from Apple shortly after I leave here, and I'm taking it to a data recovery shop where they think they're going to be able to recover the data, but I don't know the final word on that yet.
No, man, you don't realize until something like this happens just how strongly linked you are to your devices. Mat Honan,
Right.
Thanks so much for sharing your story. I wish you a lot of luck in getting your digital life recovered. Yeah, good luck, and we'll be waiting for your next story. Thanks so much.